would you please tell me a little bit of yourself?
Yes. Hi, my name is Dr. Sarah Watson. I'm the principal of Oxford International College. I joined the college about 10 months ago in January of this year after moving from London as part of Abbey Colleges in that area. And before that, I spent many, many years overseas as a principal in Geneva in Switzerland, and then about a decade in Hong Kong as a head of college at a really great international school there. And originally I'm from Liverpool, a city in the UK up north, where I studied and I started my educational career. And I also then went on to get qualifications from Liverpool University, universities in Singapore and University in Western Australia, finally for my doctorate studies and master's degree.
Thank you. And my first question will be, OIC has a kind of reputation for its incredible A-level results and college acceptance, like Oxford, Cambridge, or yes, and especially in medical schools. And would you please let me know what kind of unique system or program makes this happen?
Yes, so at Oxford International College, we are very focused on the fact that great A-level results are no longer enough to get you into a top-tier university. We know that geopolitically things are changing, and there are hundreds of thousands of people every year who are applying to the G5 in the UK, Ivy League in the US, and various other universities around the world as well, who all have excellent grades. So we know it has to be more than that. So at OIC, we have a full programme for students which combines their A-level studies with what we call supercurricular opportunities. These are timetabled sessions which go beyond the curriculum and ask students to apply the theoretical knowledge that they've learned within their subjects into real-world contexts. So, for example, we have a very strong pathway for medicine students, which is in our pathway 1 called Clinical and Life Sciences. So when you start at OIC, you are put into one of the 4 pathways. And this comes with a whole portfolio of extra experiences that you are entitled to as part of your programme. For medicine, for example, we would arrange for work shadowing for students to follow a doctor or a dentist or a veterinary scientist to get that hands-on experience. There are also lessons in things like forensics, if that's an area you wanted to move into. Surgical skills, medical ethics is particularly important as a subject, because we know that this is increasingly what universities, not only in the UK, but in Hong Kong, China and Switzerland, for example, are more working towards looking at medical ethics and ethical decision making as part of the application and interview process, for example. So we make sure that students have a good background in debating skills and communication skills, as well as understanding medical ethics. And of course, there are lessons in UCAT preparation or the STEP exam. So they are on students' timetables. Outside of your regular lesson time, which at OIC is very intensive, lessons run all day until 5:30. We also have a programme called OIC Amplify, which is a free programme for students included as part of the programme that they have access to stay in the holidays and to pursue extra academic activities and also more well-rounded holistic activities to build that kind of community spirit. So at OIC, it's a 24/7 full year programme for students in order to be the very best of the best to access those top universities.
Yes, your answers are quite helpful, and you already answered for my other questions. And for international students planning to study medical field in UK universities, what would you think the best year students enter your school?
So it's always good to have a few years, if you can, before you start A-levels. So joining in year 11, for example, on the one-year GCSE programme will, of course, give you those GCSE results, which universities do take into account. Of course, you don't have to have GCSEs to enter UK universities, but it really sets a level for universities to understand your background. So Year 11 is a good year to start. It gives you 1 year grounding in what it's like to be a student in the UK, what it means to be a student in the UK as well, and also how to understand that international mindedness that we find ourselves in, particularly in Oxford. Oxford is a place of multinationalities, from visiting professors at the university and the multitude of students from 160 countries that go to Oxford University. So it's a really great city to ground yourself in UK academia and that international mindedness. So if you do a year at OIC in year 11, it gives you a nice soft landing into the UK with that full wraparound care as part of boarding, to then make you feel really established and settled to start your A-level course in year 12.
And beside the medical field, what fields students look for in universities?
So we have 4 global strategic pathways at OIC, which you are entered into in year 12. The first one is clinical and life sciences, which we've covered around medicine, dentistry, biochemistry, pharmaceuticals, for example. The second pathway is physical and applied sciences. They're for our budding engineers, whether physical or chemical engineers. Our third pathway is social sciences and commerce. So they offer students looking at maybe economics, finance, psychology, the humanities, law, for example. And then we have pathway 4, which is computational and data sciences, increasingly popular and increasingly important in the world as well. So we have 4 specific pathways for students. If your child wants to do drama or art or design technology, these incredible subjects, OIC is not for them. That's not a specialism of ours. We are very narrowly focused on those 4 pathways, and that is so we can put all of our resources and expertise and energy into getting students on those pathways to the best universities. So we typically have, for example, this year we had 60 offers for medicine, over 100 offers for engineering, for example, 25 offers from US universities, and increasingly and quite surprisingly, I think for us, 52 offers from non-UK and non-US universities. So places like Australia, Japan, Hong Kong, China, Korea even. So we are seeing things shift, and we not only follow the market with that, but we're leading on what the next step is.
Okay, thank you for letting me know the recent changes. And for the last, would you please share any ideas or advice for Korean future students?
Yes, my advice would be to really consider who you are as a person before you decide on a school for yourself. Some students really want to live on a beautiful campus away from the city. Some people want to live in the city. They really like the buzz. Some people are really prepared. They're quite independent. They're quite mature. They can find their own way on a bus, or they can do their own washing. So I think it's to develop a level of independence, a level of maturity, to really consider what your weaknesses are and what your strengths are, and to understand those, and not to just think, I want to be a doctor, but to understand that you have strengths in logical thinking, in communication skills, in problem solving, and really identify what those strengths and weaknesses are, to then work on your weaknesses and build on your strengths, so that when you start at OIC or any school, particularly for year 12 into year 13, you already are very established in yourself as an individual, and you've really thought through these important things about yourself, so you're ready to fly once you arrive.
Thank you. I think students can picture their life in the UK thanks to your words.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.